there isn't enough time to be able to tell? What if this whole big thing blew up 2 months ago? And I'm going to give you a very specific story here, and I want to get your take on it. So a couple weeks ago, I was hosting the walk here in Austin, and it's 50 to 100 people who are walking 5 miles, and everyone brings a topic or a situation they'd like perspective on. And we all go off on our adventure on the trail and talk about it. And I found myself in a conversation with a woman who brought the topic, do you believe in giving second chances in relationship? And she ends up floating into my conversation. And she's like, there was something kind of funny that happened earlier before we started walking. And I was like, what? And she's like, at the very beginning of the walk, you came up to greet me and the guy standing next to me. And I had this moment where I couldn't tell if they were a couple or not, because sometimes it's like you can't tell. And usually in that moment, 99% of the time, I will not assume they're a couple because it can be incredibly awkward. But something in my intuition said, no, like make it awkward. I don't know why at the time, but I was like, oh, are you guys together? And then it was super awkward. She's like, tripping over her words. And then he goes, I'm working on it. And I was like, what an interesting interaction. So she's like, you remember that moment back there with that guy? Well, I've got a story for you. She says, this is a crazy story. She says, did I ever tell you how I found the walk? And I was like, no. How? She's like, one morning, a couple weeks ago, I get woken up at 7 a.m. by my boyfriend who's leaving for work. And he breaks up with me and just says, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be with you. I don't feel in love with you anymore. They had been dating for years. And he just packs up all his stuff. They lived together and moved out of the place they lived together. And this was completely shocking and out of nowhere. She did not see it coming. So she's distraught. She takes her puppy that they had just bought together to go on a walk. And of course, she runs into the walk here in Austin. We do these intro circles where everybody gathers around and shares their gratitudes and what they want to talk about that day. And she passes by our group and goes up to this guy, Mark, who is a regular. He's been over 50 times to the walk, and goes, hey, like, what are you guys doing? Like, is this a church? Is this a cult? Like, what's happening here? And he's like, oh, and he's the best spokesman for the walk. Mark is the best hype guy. And he's like, oh no, it's this walk. We walk 5 miles. We have great conversations. You got to join. And she's like, my puppy isn't going to be able to make it, but I'll be back next week. That's how she found the walk, the day she got broken up with. Okay. Now, the next time I'm seeing her live in this conversation, she goes, the guy that you had that awkward moment with today, who said, I'm working on it, was the guy who broke up with me weeks ago. I was like, what? So this man ends up reaching back out to her after, I believe, 2 months of being separated. He broke up with her, blocked her number, completely went ghost. And then 2 months go by and he reaches back out and says, I made a horrible mistake. I don't know what I was thinking. Like, I don't even know what came over me, but I need to be with you. And I am so sorry for all the pain that I caused you in doing that. And I will change. And she was honest with me, because this is happening over a course of 5 miles. I was with her the entire walk. So that's about an hour and a half, 2 hours of talking. Over time, this is what's interesting with women. Women won't often volunteer things that make their partner look bad. It's maybe same with men, but I think especially women, because they believe so tightly in the potential of the man, they will not share with you the things that make him look bad, because that goes against the vision of him in her mind. So after I asked a lot of questions very lovingly, she shared with me their relationship was not very good. That he would say he was going to do all these things and he wouldn't. That he wasn't planning dates anymore. He wasn't showing her love or affection. He wasn't buying her gifts or acknowledging her birthday. He was dropping the ball in all the things that show somebody that you love them. And most importantly, to her, after this whole thing happened, he wasn't really expressing an interest in understanding why. Like, why did you do that? What emotionally was happening inside to cause you to have this moment where you just up and left me? So there's the growth gap starting to happen where she wants to know why. She wants to grow. She wants to look inward. And he just wants to almost like put a blanket over top of all of it and just say, I don't really want to go there. I don't really want to go to therapy. I don't really want to do any of that. But like, I know I made a mistake and I need you back. And she tells me all of this and says, should I give him a second chance? My intuition is telling me I need to. And this is what's really interesting is that's not your intuition. That's your fear. That's fear of the unknown, fear of leaving a comfortable situation. That's scarcity, that you won't be able to find someone better, someone more aligned, someone who loves you the way that you deserve. That is what is talking to you. And you're confusing it for your intuition because you haven't sat alone with yourself enough to be able to clarify the signal, to be able to tell, oh, this is coming from all these stories rather than my actual intuition that knows what the right answer is. And here's the real tea of the situation. If her intuition was really telling her to take him back, she wouldn't have brought that as a topic at the walk.
It's not something to question if it's not a question.
Because you don't need anyone else's input on a relationship that feels right in your body, heart, and soul. It just feels unquestionably right. And if someone were to come to her and say, you shouldn't take him back or you shouldn't be with him, she wouldn't care because the knowing would be so strong. So she's saying to me, my intuition is saying I need to take him back, but I'm not feeling that in her words. I'm feeling a woman who's shaky on this and she's scared. And I've been in that same place. And I ended up saying something to her that like caused a physical reaction in her because it was so true. And I was just like, does any of this resonate with you? In your mind, do you think things like, I'm running out of time? I won't be able to have kids if I wait past a certain age. There are no men who will treat me better than him. It's not that bad. This relationship is as good as it's going to get. Do any of those phrases and so many more, I could keep going, cross your mind when you think of this man? Because if they do, that's not your intuition talking, that's your fear. And your fear is causing you to stay in this relationship because you do not believe that you could find and keep better. And she literally, we're walking. She stops kind of in her tracks and is like, you've given me a lot to think about and I need to take a break.
Yeah.
And
it's a lot of truth for one sitting.
Thank you so much for watching that clip. I hope you enjoyed it and felt a little love or joy sprinkled into your day. If you want to watch another one, you can go here, here, or somewhere all around here. I hope you have a great day. Bye. Love you.